But one thing too that makes it really hard, especially when you lose someone so close to you, like your mom, brother, dad, sister, uncle, grandmother, one thing that makes it so hard is the holidays. I know for me, even now, it's been 5 years and the holidays still feel so hard to get through, because my holidays were always spent with my mother, every single holiday. I didn't go out the house for New Year's. I stayed in the house and we watched the ball drop together. Christmas, we were unwrapping and exchanging gifts, like all that stuff. That happened for most of my life. And now I no longer have that experience to share because that person is no longer here. So I know. And there's so much to think about in regards to that. My mother wanted grandkids. I could never give her that while she was here. Wanted that for her so bad. That was for like the past 4 years that she was on this planet. She had been begging. I was like, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? She's like, I want a grandbaby. And I wanted to give her that so bad. I'm still going to one of these days. But I got to make sure I do it right. I want the whole wife and kids, picket fence, nice house, all that good stuff. What's going on, you guys? I hope you all are having a great day and welcome to A Different Perspective. Now, if this is your first time here, again, welcome. This is a channel about self-development. Now, I'm no expert myself, but for the past 4 to 5 years, I have been practicing the daily habits and routines from some of the greatest minds on the planet that have done a really good job of living a wealthy, healthy, and abundant life. But now I could definitely be doing better in a few areas, and those are things that I'm most certainly working on. It doesn't happen overnight. But before we get into this, real quick, Christopher, shout out to you, brother. Yesterday I did a live on my other channel, unboxing, unpackaging of some of the fan mail that I be getting from you guys. He gave me an incredible gift. He's one of my supporters right here on both channels as well as on Patreon. Check out what he made for me, y'all. Check this out, this wallet. So nice with the YouTube play button on it. It got a crown above it and it got the AOK cut into the inside. This is such a nice high quality wallet, man. Christopher, shout out to you. Thank you. I absolutely love this. And I needed a wallet. I don't even have a wallet. I needed this, man. So definitely big ups to you, Christopher. And as you can tell by the title, today we're going to be talking about losing a loved one and that grieving stage that we go through. Whew. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I've kind of been avoiding doing this video. I've been putting it off for a while. But if you guys have been keeping up, then some of you know that I have been kind of dealing with panic attacks again lately. And I strongly believe that part of the reason that these panic attacks have come back is not only because of the state of our nation and the state of the world right now, but also because of some of the subject matter that I've been bringing up on this channel. It's kind of been causing me to remember thoughts that have been suppressed for a long time now. I don't put that blame on you guys. I'm not taking that out on any of you all, but I just have to make sure that I continue to practice the things that helped me in the first place so that they can continue to help me from here on out. Now, for a lot of you, you know that I lost my mother back about 5 years ago, back in 2015, to a stroke, and that was right before the holidays, right before Christmas. I believe that was December the 15th or December the 14th to be exact. Now, something interesting was happening with me during that time, and I'm so grateful for it because without it, I probably wouldn't have made it through it as well as I did. Now, what I mean by that is at that time, I had began to study emotions. I was becoming a sponge to the knowledge of emotions, and I was so captivated by the fact that, and this is going to be the key takeaway from this topic, is that a lot of the emotions that we experience are choices. Regardless of whether you believe that or not, at any given moment, the emotion that you're feeling at that time, you chose to feel. Whether it's anger, happiness, sadness, joy, thrill, those are chosen emotions. Now, I'm not talking about some of the things when it comes to mental health, like depression and all that type of stuff. Those are much deeper. Those are not choices. Even if you're someone like myself at that time who was suffering from depression, but also understanding that the grieving that I was dealing with of the loss of my mother was not a part of the depression, but it was a choice to be made in regards to the emotion that I was experiencing during that time. Now, for me, it started before she had passed away. She was still in the hospital undergoing treatment for days and days and days before her time had came. Now, in that time is when I was studying about emotions. So I remember I was working at my little shuttle job that I told you all about, driving around, taking people from one building to another, and I would be in the vehicle, and there was times where I would sob. I'll be the only one in there, but there would be times where I would sit there and just cry and let myself experience the emotion. Now, that's another important part of this lesson, and understanding that it's okay to feel emotions. Even if you get to the point where I had control over the emotions that I felt, I still understood that I was a human being and that it was perfectly okay to feel and experience emotions at certain times and know what those emotions are and where they're coming from. But to also be able to regain control over what's happening to you on the inside in regards to that emotion. Now, at that time, I would allow myself to cry. I would sit there and cry it out and feel, because I knew that her health was not in the best place and there was a very strong chance that she would not make it through it. So I would sit there and I would cry and I would feel. My bosses, they would tell me to go home. They would say, "Why are you here? Your mother's in the hospital. She's not doing well. You can go home. You don't have to be here." And I would tell them, "No, you don't understand. It's better for me to be here so that I won't have to focus on it so much. There's a job to be done. You guys need me here. Even though you want me to go home, you need me to be here. So let me be here. This will be better for me." Because me, prior to that, every time my mother was admitted to the hospital, I didn't leave her side. I wasn't working. I wouldn't go home. I would just stay by her side all day, every day until she was out of that hospital. I would bring clothes. I would sit there. I would be in that hospital with her through and through, all the way through. And that definitely piled on to some of the stuff that I was going through and dealing with at that time. For me to take a step back from that is not so much to be selfish, but to not pile on too much more than I could bear, and understand that I still had a job to be done, because bills and food and all that stuff, having a roof over our head, because I was the breadwinner, all that had to be taken into account as well. So I needed to work. Like I said, I would sit there, I would grieve, I would cry, but then I created a trigger for myself to snap myself out of it. And it was literally a snap. I would snap my finger and the tears would no longer drip. I could wipe it away and I would choose to be in a different state. For someone who was dealing with depression very deeply at that time, to understand, learn, and believe that there was this power in controlling your emotions, it really changed my overall perspective on life. And also another thing that I learned too is the way that we react to the world will determine our outcome. There's an actual equation for that. It's R plus S equals O. Your reaction to the situation equals your outcome. Now, this is something just to be added to this topic, but realizing and then also practicing how I react to certain situations, seeing the different outcomes, was enough to make me reanalyze the way I reacted to the world, literally. So it took me out of being so consumed with myself and realizing that there's more than one thing that's happening in this moment. Take, for instance, somebody cuts you off while you're driving. You get upset. You want to honk the horn. You want to speed up. You want to tailgate them right on their butt because they cut you off while driving. Maybe they cut you off because they're in a hurry to get to their kid. Their kid is sick at school and he has to be rushed to the doctor, or he broke his hand or something. Maybe there was a deeper reason behind it, but you're deciding to react in a way that you are only worsens the situation. There's this book, I got it linked down below as well. I highly suggest you guys will check it out. It will absolutely blow your mind. It's called Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely, one of my favorite books. When I was working at that job on that shuttle, one of my passengers actually recommended that book to me. She was working in the hospital. Her husband had read it. She read some of it and she recommended that book. She's like, "I think you would like this." And she was right. I absolutely loved it. And the information in that book really gets you to understand just how predictably irrational most people are. To the point where you start to laugh at some of the silly things that people do that you maybe once thought before was normal. I learned so much about myself and the people around me from reading that book, because I really got to sit there and analyze people in a different way, a different perspective than I have ever before in my entire life. To the point where I actually began to understand people a bit better than I had before in my entire life. Because a lot of the ways that we react to something, R plus S equals O, Reaction to the situation equals the outcome. A lot of the times that we react to certain stuff in our lives will paint the picture of a better or a worse outcome. Like, seriously, think about that. Let's say you're someone that maybe you're in a relationship and you don't necessarily always get along with the other person, or they do certain things that really tick you off or irritate you. Whenever you address them about that thing or about the way they act towards you, you always end up arguing, or the conversation always going south. Well, part of the reason is because of the way you reacted. Now, as a lot of you may know that I do have a reaction channel, people in my personal life will ask me, they're like, why is it that people watch reaction videos? Like, that is the strangest thing in the world to me. And why would somebody sit there and watch one person watch something that they can watch themselves? And I had to explain to them that part of the science behind it is people want to know other people's opinions on something that they themselves enjoy or consume. They want to know if someone feels indifferent than they do or feel the same way they do about this thing that made them feel some type of way, whether it be good or bad, positive or negative, happy or sad. People want to know how other people feel about it, because maybe they themselves are reacting to it the wrong way. Now, going back to the grieving, the old cliche of don't be sad, they would want you to continue on with your life, yada, yada, yada. We all know that. That's pretty much a given. They would want us to continue on and be well within our life, but it doesn't change the fact that we are still grieving over them no longer being here. But we cannot allow it to prevent us from becoming productive members of society. It's okay. Cry. And don't you ever feel like you will forget about that person. And don't you ever feel that they will believe that you're going to forget about them, because that's not going to be the case. You won't ever forget about them. If anything, you will celebrate them on their birthdays, or instead of grieving on the anniversary of their death, celebrate their life on that day. But one thing too that makes it really hard, especially when you lose someone so close to you, like your mom, brother, dad, sister, uncle, grandmother, one thing that makes it so hard is the holidays. I know for me, even now, it's been 5 years and the holidays still feel so hard to get through, because my holidays were always spent with my mother, every single holiday. I didn't go out the house for New Year's. I stayed in the house and we watched the ball drop together. Christmas, we were unwrapping and exchanging gifts, like all that stuff. That happened for most of my life. And now I no longer have that experience to share because that person is no longer here. So I know. And there's so much to think about in regards to that. My mother wanted grandkids. I could never give her that while she was here. Wanted that for her so bad. That was for like the past 4 years that she was on this planet. She had been begging. I was like, what do you want for Christmas? What do you want for your birthday? She's like, I want a grandbaby. And I wanted to give her that so bad. I'm still going to one of these days. But I got to make sure I do it right. I want the whole wife and kids, picket fence, nice house, all that good stuff. That's my ultimate goal in life. I'm gonna share this with you guys, and this is something that I wanted to say for this video. Understand that you will always be tested when it comes to your emotions, and it's very important for you to be consciously aware of this type of information and of this stuff, so that you will have the best defense against it. Like for me, the way I was tested again, and I kind of felt selfish saying this, the exact same year after my mother passed away, my aunt passed away, the same way almost to the day. My mother was like December the 15th, I believe, of 2015, and my aunt was December the 14th of 2017. There were two sisters that was pretty close. Now, I didn't have the best relationship with that aunt, but after my mother passed away, I moved in with her and I developed a relationship with her to the point where I felt like I could talk to her more than I could have talked to my mom. I began to really love and appreciate this person more than I ever had in my entire life. So you can imagine, I'm going through the grieving stage. It had only been 1 year since my mother passed away. There was a lot going on at that time. A friend of mine wanted me to go to California with her, but I was broke. I didn't have any money. So I had to stay home, and because it was the holiday season coming up again, this is the first time that I was going to go through the whole holiday season without my mother. It was tough. It was very hard on me, but I was still practicing controlling my emotions. But I'm not going to lie, when the exact same thing repeated with my aunt, it broke me. Even though I was aware of the power that I had obtained just a year prior when it comes to controlling my emotions, this time I let my emotions flow. I just let them all out, everything. I deleted every friend on Facebook. I deleted every post I hadn't made on Instagram. I literally, if you look on my Instagram now, that very first picture, if you go all the way down to the bottom, the very first post that I made like a few weeks after going through the grieving stage of losing my aunt, and just deciding in that moment that I was gonna fight and continue to fight on and become a better version of myself. But that's what I meant by you continue to be tested. Life is easy for no one, but it doesn't mean that it has to be unbearably hard for any of us. Increasing your awareness, like I said, you're gonna be hearing me say this in just about every video. The more you are aware about this information that's out here, the better chance you have at life and fighting. Because I'm pretty sure if you're watching this video right now, then you yourself have either started your self-development journey, or you're looking to start your self-development journey, or you're deep in it already. But the fight continues. Each and every day we should continue to be striving for better self, because I promise you, on the other side is the life that's worth living. Continue to be in the place and be the person that is not suiting us, it only hurts us more. But yeah, you guys, I'm in this right here. I am getting hungry. I need to go eat a banana or something. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys took something from this video. You know, as always, I want you guys to comment your thoughts on this topic, on this subject, and even share some of your experiences with grievance. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next one.